Big news for business owners, like actually big. The BOI reporting requirements have been overturned for now. If you've been wondering whether you still have to file that confusing beneficial ownership report, you're not alone. I wanted to make this video for a reason because the rules have changed so many times. I saw YouTube video after YouTube video about all the confusing updates month after month. And after a while, it really didn't make sense what you had to do, what you didn't have to do, if you were going to get in trouble if you didn't do something. But now we have an actual ruling. Let's break down what this means for your business and what to do next. So here's what happened. In late February 2025, FinCEN said, hey, don't worry, we're not enforcing the BOI reporting right now. Then the Treasury came out in early March with a press release saying US businesses probably won't have to file this. But press releases aren't law. They're just vibes in the moment. And that's why I held off on making videos about this. I didn't want to make a video that would be outdated in a week, which happens, and it's frustrating, right? For you and for me. But on March 21st, 2025, the Treasury and FinCEN issued an interim final rule. And this one has teeth. It officially exempts most US-based LLCs and corporations from having to file a BOI report. You heard that right. If you're a domestic reporting company, you're off the hook for now. And trust me, that's a massive relief for millions of small business owners like myself, like you, who were scrambling for months to figure this out. Let's rewind real quick. Back in 2021, the Corporate Transparency Act passed with bipartisan support. It created this new reporting requirement, BOI, or beneficial ownership information. Now, the idea was to crack down on shell companies used for money laundering, fraud, even terrorism. So flash forward about 3 years, and starting January 1st, 2024, any small business like your LLC or S Corp had to file a report with FinCEN, listing who owned 25% or more or had substantial control in your business. The government wanted to know exactly who was behind each company, their name, birth date, address, the works, right? And this wasn't just a one-time thing. Any changes in ownership meant filing an update within 30 days. And this would be for all the businesses you own. So if you're like me and you have more than one company, then this means staying on top of more than one thing to file just to keep in compliance. Penalties? Up to $500 a day. Criminal penalties if they thought you were deliberately hiding something. Naturally, people freaked out. My inbox was flooded with questions, and I bet, yours was too if you work with small businesses. In fact, Mike, my contractor, called me up and said, wait, I already filed my LLC with the state. I got the EIN. I'm good, right? I mean, I file taxes every year. What do I need with another report? And Mike has a really good point. That's why this latest ruling matters. Under the March 21st, 2025 ruling, the Treasury redefined reporting company to focus only on foreign entities. This means that if you're a US-based LLC or corporation, regardless of whether you have US or non-US owners, you are now exempt from BOI reporting. That's huge. I mean, the vast majority of small businesses that were stressing out can take this as a big sigh of relief. No new passwords to remember, no new filing deadlines to worry about missing. In fact, my accountant Jeff, we had to get coffee multiple times just to understand all these rulings. So after this latest one, Jeff's like, this is finally a good move. It's going to save US businesses billions in compliance costs. And he's right. The original estimate was $21 billion in startup costs, $3 billion a year just to maintain all this BOI reporting. And that number's insane. So yeah, Jeff's right. This was always a burden on the small, honest business owners out there. But here's the twist. The only reason the Treasury could pull this off is because the original law gave them an escape hatch, literally. The Corporate Transparency Act says the Secretary of the Treasury can exempt any entity if reporting wouldn't help national security or law enforcement. So yeah, the Treasury drove a truck through this clause and said small US businesses, not worth the squeeze. And I gotta say, as much as we complain about government overreach, this is one time where they actually listened to the business community. The backlash was real, and it looks like it finally worked. Even my wife Courtney, with her business, she agrees with the latest changes too. She's like, I love that they changed it, but now I'm paranoid. We didn't file, so are we actually safe? Now, if you don't know my wife, Courtney, she's amazing, but she's a rule follower. So it's a fair question. And yeah, this is where a lot of people might get stuck even while watching this latest video right now. Because while the new law is out, it's still in what they call the comment period. And that's just bureaucratic procedure. So all these final rulings will probably and most likely go into effect in the next 30 to 60 days. Based on Treasury's language, this is clearly the direction that things are going. And even better, if you did already file your BOI report, no worries. You don't need to amend anything. There's no withdrawing it. It just sits there. It's private. It's not like it's searchable now. No harm. The system isn't going to flag you for having filed something that you didn't need to file. Because I mean, that would be a pretty weird punishment for being like extra compliant. Oh, and real quick, if all this still feels murky, I mean, I get it. Not everyone wanted to read 30 pages of the Treasury documents, and I barely made it through most of that stuff myself, but hey, it's my job. So look, even though most of you are probably exempt right now, some of you still might want like hands-on navigating, especially if you have like a more complex business structure or some of those foreign interests. If that's the case, I partnered with a compliance service. I did a lot of due diligence. I personally use them and trust them. They've been absolute lifesavers through this whole BOI chaos. So I'll link them down below in the description of this video. They handle everything from the BOI questions to LLC setups and all the compliance stuff. So no stress, no confusion, just peace of mind if that's something you still need. Now, let's talk about what's really dangerous. All these fake letters and sketchy services and cold emails trying to scare business owners into the urgent BOI compliance. Those aren't going away overnight. If anything, honestly, they might start getting worse with, scammers trying to still capitalize on the confusion. So please don't fall for that. In fact, here's like a mental checklist when it comes to these rulings. Are you a US-based LLC or corporation? No foreign registration? You own and run the business? Then right now you're exempt. There's no need to complete the BOI following. Still unsure? Talk to a trusted pro, but don't just take the advice of some pop-up ad or some guy named Barry in your DMs. I've seen some pretty convincing scams lately, official looking letters with government seals or websites that have like .gov in the URL somewhere, but just be skeptical of everything, especially if you're trying to get caught up with all this news and still seeking outside help, right? Now look, this is a temporary win, but the courts and Congress still have moves to make. There's a case at the Supreme Court right now, Texas Top Cop Shop, arguing the BOI requirement is unconstitutional. So if the Supreme Court strikes it down, then BOI is dead. There's also the Repealing Big Brother Act in Congress. That could also officially kill BOI for US companies, but that's been stuck in gridlock for a while now. So yeah, it's like a civics class over here, right? We've got all three branches of government weighing in on this. Executive branch says, let's pause this. The judicial branch says, we'll decide if it's even legal. And then you got the legislative branch says, we're still thinking about it. Meanwhile, you're just trying to run your business. The real lesson here, small business regulations are often a moving target. This won't be the last time something like this happens. There could, in fact, be another update. So here's what to do now. First, just verify your company type. If you're a US-based and domestic company, you're likely exempt from this. Ignore the scare tactics. No penalties are being enforced while the rule is pending. And if you need to stay in the loop, I've created a free one-page BOI update guide. You can download that for free. It's no fluff, just what you need. Sign up for it, and I'll keep you updated on any changes as they happen. And for those of you with more complex situations who want some expert guidance, check the description for that trusted compliance resource I mentioned. They've helped hundreds of my subscribers navigate this mess without breaking a sweat. But really, don't let this eat up too much of your mental bandwidth anymore. This is one of those rare instances where the news is actually good, and you can probably cross one thing off your worry list for now. Look, I get it. My wife Courtney and I had the same conversation a few nights ago. We've been through enough compliance curveballs to know regulations change, and when they do, you either adapt or get stuck, this channel, it exists to help you stay one step ahead. Because when you know the rules, you know the game. And honestly, that's the whole reason that I started this channel in the first place. I got tired of seeing smart, hardworking business owners get blindsided by regulatory changes or new rules that they never saw coming. So yeah, BOI reporting is temporarily dead. But like any zombie rule, it could come back. My advice, stay informed, stay skeptical, surround yourself with a team and people that actually know what's going on. As of the end of March 2025, this is where things stand. But I'll be watching this closely. Go ahead, drop your comments down below and I'll answer every single one. Grab the free BOI update guide below. And if you want help staying compliant, I've linked that trusted service that I have personally used, and it's down below in the description. It also helps support this channel, so I invite you to check it out. All right, and don't forget to hit subscribe so you don't miss the next update, because this isn't over, right? Who knows? As always, I'm Rich, and until next time.